Okay. So welcome Pradeep sir to New Journey Meditation. Thank you so much for giving your time. Um, let me do a formal introduction, and then I will tell you a really pretty story that some of you know a little bit. So Pradeep sir, he is educated from Jawaharlal Nehru Technological University from Hyderabad. He also from Libra Law College, Nelsar. He is a writer, and his writing has descended unto him in his Himalayan stay. He has worked in premier software companies. He had won several performance and quality awards. He is now working as head of PMC English channel. If you guys remember, I have told you to like PMC English channel. So that's where he's the head of he is the head of the channel with the guidance of Brahmarishi Pitama Patriji. He owns around 5,000 books and has read several spiritual books and attended and experimented on several meditation techniques. He had done, this was amazing when I read this line, he had done several sittings of continuous 10 hours of meditation. So far, we have had 6 hours max. This has crossed all the limits, like 10-hour meditation. With a fervor towards society transformation, he has touched more than 10 lakhs people in 19 different states through meditation. He ran 2 free community meditation centers. He trained students and several corporate employees on various subjects, including stress management and science of meditation. Accenture, and there are many other companies that comes under this corporate training. He was given opportunity by Patriji as All India PYMA president. Now, what is a PYMA? It's a Pyramid Young Masters Association. He organized numerous deep spiritual science workshops on topics ranging from deep dreams and astral projection, emotional intelligence, Buddha teaching, and enlightenment. So he's here today in between us to share his wisdom on enlightenment. Now, before I go ahead and give him the mic onto him, some of you remembered that, and if you do, please message me in the chat. If you remember, I had when we did the Shivratri meditation back in March or February, I had an incident with me where my laptop started. If you remember, my laptop started downstairs. My laptop started suddenly, and I had to come down and see who is, suddenly at 3 o'clock in the morning, my laptop started right after the meditation of Shivji. The person who was talking in that and taking the session during that time, it was Pradeep sir's session, which started suddenly at 3 o'clock in the morning. And this is how this was the first time when it started at 3 a.m. in the morning. And during our another workshop, and I forgot about it after some time, you kind of it went away. And at another workshop, I saw him. He just came by to just to introduce to different masters and then somebody said, this is Pradeep sir, and I'm like, wait a minute, he's the guy whose session came that at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I messaged him. It's just like it was like a soul connection. And then I messaged him, and then from there onwards, he called me, and it was like I didn't believe that I was talking to him, the guy who was on the laptop that day. Suddenly at 3 a.m., suddenly I'm attending this master's session at 3 a.m., and I'm personally calling him and talking to him. So that's how we connected. And he's been so kind that you guys know I talk so much, and he's been so kind. He called me for only for like 10 minutes, and I called I talked so much with him, and he's very nicely and humbly listening to all my things, and we almost spoke for half an hour to 1 hour actually. So every time I call him, and I just keep calling him and I keep telling him, and he's so kindly and humbly listened to my talks, and he agreed to come here That was the biggest achievement on myself, I felt. So thank you so much, Pradeep sir. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Friends, yes, I am Pradeep Anirudh. I've done my computer science engineering and law bachelor's and media law specialization. And I'm working for PM's English channel, as Prachi ma'am has mentioned. Today, I'm going to speak certain aspects of enlightenment. Only few aspects, and then because enlightenment itself is a vast subject, yet it is the most simplest subject also. If I have to tell you the crux of enlightenment in 2 sentences, only in 2 sentences, and then you doesn't have to hear anything more about enlightenment, you doesn't have to live anything more in enlightenment, then those 2 sentences will be: whatever comes to you, just accept. Whatever it is life throwing at you, just accept. First aspect of enlightenment. Second aspect, whatever it is, just enjoy. These are the 2 aspects of enlightenment. Whatever life is throwing at you in terms of your physical body, in terms of your family situations, in terms of your business situations, anything, just accept. Accept anything and enjoy everything. Enjoy anything and everything. That's all. These are the 2 primary aspects of enlightenment. But to achieve this state of accepting anything that is coming to you, it needs wisdom. It needs the primary wisdom that you are not the body, but you are a soul. You are not just muscles and bones, but you are something more. So this aspect you need to not just know about it intellectually, but you also need to know this aspect experientially. Experience of you something more than this physical body, the experience is very much needed. And then that will be your path towards enlightenment. So that is the primary aspect, that you are not just your physical body, but you are something more. People may call it as soul. People may argue that it is not so. Something else, but you are not just limited to your physical body. That part you need to know. From there, your enlightenment journey starts. See, otherwise people are self-centered. People are so self-centered. When people are self-centered, they are living a dark life. They are living an unenlightened life. But when they keep recognizing that they are not just limited to this physical body, but they are something more, then their light starts spreading. See, in the childhood, it is all about you. It's just about us wanting what we want. As a kid, we want the toy, we want the toy. We want the doll, we want the doll. And then you'll keep learning your lessons. As you become youth, then you will know that yes, you are also somebody in this world. And then you keep developing your identity. And people will call you with a certain name. People will call you that you are dark. People will call you that you are fair, you are beautiful. Yes, these all identities have started coming inside you. And then you have been inculcating all these identities inside you. And then when you're a teenager, yes, then you have already found a certain identity, that you are something in this world and you are there to achieve something. You are there to achieve some big things in your world. Maybe getting that first in the class, or cracking that exam, or maybe later doing that business or getting that job. So you are unto achieving all these things. But while achieving all these things, what is the baseline a person needs to have? The baseline or a foundation a person needs to have is the realization that he is not just limited to this physical body, but he is more. He is beyond that. He is beyond that to a level that he is everything in the universe. That is where journey of enlightenment starts. There are three types of journey in enlightenment. There is one journey called as enlightenment before enlightenment, and then there is something called as proper enlightenment. Then there is something called as enlightenment after enlightenment. The three journeys for every individual. Proper enlightenment happens when you actually release your astral body from your physical body. And when your astral body looks at your physical body, when you're able to do a conscious astral travel or a conscious astral projection, and then know experientially that you are a soul or you are something more than the physical body, that is when you will have a proper enlightenment. But is that a one-time phenomenon? That is not a one-time phenomenon. You need a certain journey. You may need to attend all these sessions that Prachi Madam is organizing here. You may need to hear or listen to different masters and their experiences. You may need to do a lot of meditation. And some people may get this experience in the initial days of their meditation. Some people may take a lot of time to get this experience. But that is the time when your realization that you are a soul will happen there. So that is called as a proper enlightenment. And you will also have your journey before enlightenment. So that is enlightenment before enlightenment, but you are still in the path of enlightenment. See, when you are taking time to listen to these sessions here, when you're taking time out of your busy schedules, out of your family schedule, out of your business schedule, out of your job schedule to do meditation, that is your journey before enlightenment. That is also enlightenment, but it is enlightened before enlightenment. And then you will have a proper enlightenment someday. You'll have an experience of you being a soul. Then in your identity, you will understand that you are not just this physical body. You're not just this blood and bones. You're not just this skin and muscles, but you are something more. That realization will come, will dawn on you, not just intellectually, but experientially. See, if you take Bhagavad Gita, there are so many shlokas which tell about self-knowledge, which tell about soul wisdom. Even if you take Upanishads, it is mostly about the soul wisdom. In Bhagavad Gita, I have a favorite shloka. Na jayate mrite va kadachinnayam phutva bhavita va na bhuyaha ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Na jayate mrite va. That means you have no birth, you have no death. Kadachinnayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha. Bhutva means in bhutakala, in the past. You have existed in the past. Bhavita, you also will exist in the future. He's not talking about you existing in the last year or the day before or a few years back. He's talking about your existence even before you have taken this body. Yes, you are such an entity who has existed even before you have taken this body. And you will continue to exist even after you leave this physical body. That is you. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam. You are that soul. Ajo in Sanskrit means soul, atma. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam. It is permanent. It is eternal. You are not here for a temporary journey. Yes, you are here in this body for a temporary journey, but you are not temporary. Your real identity is not temporary. When you know that you are an Atma, then you will know that your identity is not temporary. Ajo, nitya shashvatoyam. You are permanent, you are eternal. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Only this body is perishable. But you will be eternal and you'll continue to exist all the time. There is no time that you have not existed. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano hanyate hanyamane sharire. And this purano word also has a very deep meaning. Purano means ancient. So it also says that you are ancient. It doesn't mean that you're old, but you're ancient. You're that ancient. You have existed in the beginning. No, you have existed even before the beginning of this creation. When you make this as your identity, when you make this soul as your identity, then your game will be different. Your life game will be very different when you know this big picture in your experience, not just intellectually. Socrates told that education is remembering what you have forgot. Education is remembering what you have forgot. That means you already know. There's nothing to be known newly, but you remembering what you have forgot. That means you should have known it, right? See, if I am in Florida for 10, 15 years, so I would be knowing most of the lanes there, right? The same way, if you have been here all the time, if you are here even before the creation has been created, then you would know all about creation, right? So if you make that soul as your self-identity, then there is a possibility of omniscience for you. All knowingness would dawn upon you. Am I not audible, Brij Kishorji?
No, sir, you're good. You're good,
No,
sir.
sir, you're good, sir.
Okay. Brij Kishorji, maybe you have to just check your audio. So when you know that you are a soul, when you know it experientially, then limitless possibilities will start expanding in your horizon. You would know many more things what you would know just by your physical body and by your life. You'll be connected to several dimensions. You will be connected to several worlds. See, in your meditation, there are people who are clairvoyants. They can see. People who have got clairaudience, they can hear their inner voice. People who are having the ability of clairsentience, they can feel the touch. So there are certain abilities which you will get when you meditate more. First thing is you will understand that you are not just limited to this physical body, but you also exist in all of the creation. You also exist in your partner. You also exist in every person that you meet. You also exist in the whole of creation, the whole of nature, everything that you see. You're not limited just to this physical body, but you're everywhere. You are everything. From here, your enlightenment journey starts. From here, your realization will start. Here you have two aspects. One is Atma and Paramatma. Atma is, you will understand that you are not just a physical body, but you're also a soul which is residing in this physical body. You're not the body, but you're a soul that is residing in this body. You'll understand that. You have the body, but you are not the body. You have the mind, but you are not the mind. And you are the soul which has a body. You are the soul which has a body and a mind and an intellect. So this is what you will understand. And when you keep doing meditation, you will also be able to see with your other sensory organs of the other bodies. You will understand that you just do not have only one physical body, but you have other bodies also. You have an astral body, you have an energy body, you have a mental body, you have a cosmic body, you have a nirvanic body. So you will know that you have other bodies also. And then you will know that you are not just perceiving by your physical senses, but you can also perceive through the senses or through the sensory organs of the other bodies, even from the sensory organs of the astral body. When you see with your physical eyes, yes, it is a physical sight, right? But when you see from your astral body. That is called as clairvoyance. When you see through the eyes of the astral body, it is called as clairvoyance. So in this game of enlightenment, what happens is your sensory perception abilities will expand. Your sensory perception ability to listen will expand. Your sensory perception ability to see will expand. Your sensory perception ability of touch will expand. Even with the physical body, it will expand. Your sensory perception ability to taste, to touch, to smell, these things will expand than your regular abilities. And not just this, your sensory perception abilities will expand to a level that you will not just be receiving this sensory information from the sensory organs of the physical body, but you will also be receiving sensory information from sensory organs of the other bodies also. Like from astral body, you'll be able to see. So that is called as a third eye. It is called as extrasensory perception, because the sensory perception that is happening by the physical sensory organs is called as simple sensory perception. But when this sensory perception is happening through the sensory organs of the other body, it is called as extrasensory perception, ESP. Okay. It is also called as third eye. People just call it as, yeah, I have third eye. Third eye doesn't mean only seeing, my dear friend. Third eye also means you will be able to listen in your meditation. You'll be able to see in your meditation. You'll be able to feel in your meditation. You'll be able to smell in your meditation. You'll be able to taste in your meditation. So all these experiences do come for a meditator in their meditation journey. And there will be some trigger point for everyone. Like my trigger point was when I was studying third class, then there's a Telugu movie called as Ghatotkacha. I don't know if there are any Telugu people here, but Ghatotkacha was a movie in which Ghatotkacha was the son of Bhima, the person in Mahabharata. Bhima, you know him, right? And Ghatotkacha was a Rakshasa, was born between Bhima and a Rakshasa girl, okay? And then this Ghatotkacha was singing a song, Vivaha Bhojanambu Vintaina Vantakambu, in that movie, okay? And he eats laddus just by saying ah. He opens his mouth and he was able to eat laddus. All the laddus keep going into his mouth. A very big plate of laddus was kept in front of him. And in that song, he eats laddus, not by physical touch, but he just says ah, and all those laddus go inside. And as a third standard kid, I was surprised. How is he able to do it? And then I wanted to repeat it. So I asked my mom, please make laddus for me. And then she made laddus. And then I kept in a plate. I kept a plate full of laddus. I opened my mouth and then I said, laddu, go. But they're not going inside my mouth. I was so surprised why they're not going. Because I saw that in the movie that he was able to do it. And then I also wanted to do it. It is not happening. Then I asked my dad, whom I thought he knows everything. So I asked my dad. He said, no, it is just a cinema trick. It is magic. But somehow deep inside, I was knowing that I will be able to do it. I should be able to do it. It is just that I'm not knowing how to do it. So that quest of knowing the truth, how he has done it. So that created a search in me. That created a seeking in me. And then as a 7th standard student, I was making my own theories after I learned about potential energy, kinetic energy, energy at motion. So then I understood that I need to induce that kinetic energy into that laddu. So then I know, because the science says that you need to apply physical force to get kinetic energy into an object. So I saw that Ghatotkacha was not applying a physical force, but how did he get that laddu without applying physical force? What is that force which needs to be applied to get that laddu into my mouth? So that was my search all the time. And then I became busy. I studied my 10th and then I joined my Polytechnic Computer Science, which was 10+3. And I used to work from morning 7 to 9 or morning 6 to 9 sometimes. And then from 9:30 to 5:30 is my college. Again, evening 6 to 9, I used to work. Then my BTech, then my job. I had a dream that I want to come to United States to work. So then I came to United States to work. And then I want to become a very good software engineer, a geek programmer. So I was working for 20 hours a day in my programming, in my company. So I was the go-to man for any critical software problem. Any critical software problem, yes, Pradeep is there. Any complicated and complex project that is coming to the company where no one can handle, Pradeep is there. And Pradeep has got 20 plus software certifications. He was a Sun certified Java programmer. He was a Sun certified enterprise architect. He was IBM certified service oriented architecture associate. He was IBM certified in business process, business modeler. He was an IBM certified business process analyst. He was a Red Hat certified technician, Red Hat certified engineer, Linux certified. He was IBM certified in DB2 8.1, DB2 9. So many certifications, and I was so involved and delved deeply into software all the time. I used to work for 18 to 20 hours a day on programming. So that used to be my life. But this quest that has started when I was a third standard kid, this was still inside. This was there in my heart. And after my father passed away, I was supporting my brother and sister for their studies. So once I settled them into jobs, so then I resigned my job. I said, I'm going to spend my full time for this seeking, for this search, to get answers for my search. And then I started spending full time for meditation, spirituality, knowing about spiritual science, reading, and I read a lot of research papers about meditation. And I went to different places and did meditation. I did Brahma Kumaris, I did transcendental meditation, I did Siddha Samadhi Yoga, I did Vipassana, I did Vishwas meditation, I did gibberish meditation, I did Kundalini Yoga, I did sky meditation, I did so many kinds of meditations. I experimented with so many kinds of meditation and also read so many research papers on meditation. And then I finally understood that a simplest technique can give you good results, because all great men are simple. The same way, a greatest technique is also simple. A simplest technique can be great. That is how I chanced upon Anapanasati. I met Patriji through my brother, Prabodh Achyuta, who himself was a meditator. And then after I started doing Anapanasati, I started realizing my truths. I went to Himalayas. I stayed there for more than 3.5 years. So I met many sages, many people who are much older than 100 years. You never know how many years older than 100 years, yet they were having a black beard. Their beard or hair didn't turn gray. So in this journey, I have known my answers. I have known my answers that for Laddu to get that kinetic energy, they were not applying physical force, but they were applying a psychic force. It is called as telekinesis, or it is also called as psychokinematism. Okay. So they were applying that telepathic energy or psychic energy to induce that kinetic energy into an object. And I saw people doing it. When I saw people doing it, and my quest, my thirst was quenched. So I found my answers. But in this process, what has happened is, in this process, I got deeper into my meditation. I got deeper into spiritual science. So my interest I got interested in spiritual science. I explored it and then I started teaching it. So I taught meditation in so many schools and colleges, because see, all these software certifications that I have told you, I did it in a very record time. Sun Certified Enterprise Architect was one of the very complex certifications. Even Red Hat Certified Engineer was an 8-hour certification. So Sun Certified Enterprise Architect, I hardly prepared for 45 days and wrote the certification. People prepare it for at least for 6 months to 1 year. And for Red Hat Certified Engineer, it was only 15 days. I wrote the exam, I passed the exam. People thought, why is he wasting his money? Within 15 days, he want to write the exam. No, I passed it with 99 percentile. So then I understood that yes, through meditation, my memory power is increasing, my concentration is increasing. Then I started teaching this to many people. So I went to schools, colleges, companies, software companies, government organizations, apartments, wherever people called, I went, and then traveled all 19 different states. I also traveled 23 districts of combined Andhra and Telangana. So there is no town which I wouldn't have touched. So I was just teaching meditation crazily everywhere. And then Patriji gave me an opportunity as president for Pyramid Young Masters Association. So all this happened, and so many learnings in life. So my dear friends, what I wanted to tell with my journey is there will be some trigger point in you. So my trigger point was that to find the answer, how this Ghatotkacha character was able to eat laddus without applying a physical force. That was my trigger point. So the same way, some people may have health as a trigger point. Some people will have some other experience as a trigger point. Whatever may be the experience or whatever may be the question that you have got. So this trigger point will help you to go deeper into meditation and know that you are not just limited to this physical body, but you are more. So, and then expand your sensory perception abilities. See, one more way of psychokinematism, looking at psychokinematism, I'll tell you. See, if this is my hand, I know I can move it. I can move it in any direction. Yes, because I know that this is my hand. Because I'm in so much of oneness with my hand, I can move it. If I'm in so much of oneness with that laddu, I can also move it. But I need to be in so much of oneness with that laddu that I need to feel that I am that laddu. Then I can move it, right? So you can also achieve through a vibration of oneness, through an understanding of oneness, through an experience of oneness, through living that oneness also you can know things. So you are one, not just with your physical body, but you are one with entire creation. That understanding is very primary for a person's enlightenment. You need to understand that you yourself is God. Nothing inferior than that. You yourself is God. See, all these years we have been told that there's God in the temple. He is great. Wonderful. There is God. That statue in the temple may signify God. Wonderful, beautiful. But you are not less than any God. You need to know that. From these generations on, you have been told, or we have been told, that there is some external God. But you also need to know that there is an inner divinity that is residing in each one of us, but it is latent. You need to realize it. Through meditation, you will realize that latent divinity, that inner divinity that is residing inside you. So an enlightened person is a person who has realized his divinity. Swami Vivekananda told, manifest the divinity within. This is the essence of any religion. This is the essence of any religion. Re plus religion, God realization. It's called as God realization. So you need to realize the God that is residing in you. He may be in the seat form, but you need to realize. You need to realize that you yourself is God. You yourself is Shiva. You yourself is Krishna. You yourself is any God that you may say. Not anything less than that. So an enlightened person will know that this Jivudu is Devudu. This man himself is God. Not anything less. And he is everything. He is everywhere. There is no place that he is not there. Govindudu, endandu vetikina, andandu galadu Govindudu. Endandu vetikina. Wherever you search, there Govinda is. See, initially a seeker will seek. Everyone is a seeker. Everyone is a jignasi. And he will seek that gnana. He is seeking that wisdom. He keeps on seeking. I was seeking through that laddu. how to move that laddu without touching. I was seeking that. Everyone will be seeking something. Somebody will be seeking wealth, somebody will be seeking health, somebody will be seeking a position, somebody will be seeking job, or anything anyone may be seeking in their life, my dear friends. Finally, he or she will understand that whatever is being sought or whoever is being sought is the same person who is seeking. You are seeking yourself. Nothing else, nobody else. This is the truth you have to come in terms with. Even by reciting Vishnu Sahasranama, Lalita Sahasranama, or Bhagavad Gita any number of times, you are seeking something. There is some seeking that is happening inside. And my dear friends, your final seeking will be only you. Nobody else. Not Rama, not Krishna, not Durga, not Jesus, not anyone. It will be you, yourself, whom you are seeking. And these things are told everywhere. See, you may be having 18 Puranas and 18 Upa Puranas. But if you come to Vedas, you will understand that Aham Brahmasmi Tatvamasi, Shvetaketu. Aham Brahmasmi, I am the creator, I am the Brahman. You are also that. Each one of you is a creator. And the other person is also that. You will understand that. You have to arrive at this truth finally. You will understand that whoever is seeking, they are seeking themselves, not anybody else. They will understand. And they will also come in terms with understanding oneness, that whoever is seeking and whatever is being sought, everything is one. There is one without a second. This is one of the very powerful statements of any realized person. This is one of the very powerful statements on Earth planet. You are one without a second. I want to repeat it again. Even if you understand the depth of it or not, I just want you to repeat within yourself. I am one without a second. I am one without a second. This session on enlightenment will not be complete unless this statement is made. I am one without a second. And then there is not even a statement that is needed. I am one without a second. So you're one. You're one with everything. You're one with everyone. If you are able to get into this vibrational state, into this wisdom awareness, you are one without a second, then you are able to see everyone just like you. Then what Jesus told, love thyself the most, love your neighbor the same. How can you love others the same way that you can love? Unless you feel that amount of oneness with the other person, you cannot love others, right? So love thyself the most. Yes, love thyself the most. Wonderful, beautiful, because love heals. Love is Anahata Chakra aspect. But universal love is Sahasrara aspect. Love thyself the most. And love your neighbor the same. So this can happen only when you feel that oneness with the other person. I am one without a second. The other person is also me. So now, and then the other and me, I and other doesn't exist there. And then compassion flows. Jesus is a symbolism for love and compassion. Love is also a kind of oneness with the other person. Compassion can happen only with the oneness with the other people, right? Otherwise, you cannot be compassionate if you are self-centered. So enlightenment is a journey from separation to oneness, from self-centeredness to self-realization. Enlightenment is this journey, my dear friends. And then compassion is an outcome of an enlightenment. Love is an outcome of enlightenment. And this all happens with the foundation of meditation. Earlier, I was not liking Pakistanis because I was told all the time that Pakistan is our enemy country. And then somehow I had a bad feeling, ill feeling about them. And then after a certain level of understanding, after doing a lot of meditation, then I understood what is the difference. They may be born in a different faith. They may be born in a different country. Why do I have to carry that enmity in my heart? Then you will not have any kind of enmity in your heart when you are in the journey of your enlightenment. You will just be compassionate. You'll just be compassionate. And then one another quality of enlightenment is fearlessness. See, when you understand that you are a soul, even if somebody comes and keeps a knife on your neck, what will happen? Hatova praptyasi swargam. Even if you are killed, you'll go into heaven. That is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Even if you're killed, you'll get into heaven. So here, an understanding of law of karma is very important for any enlightened master. Any enlightened master's words, actions will be fully aligned with law of karma. An awareness of law of karma will be there. He will be aware. Awareness is a quality of enlightenment. But awareness of what? Awareness of law of karma. What you do gets done unto you. What you say, people say about you. If you do rumor mongering about somebody, about you, 10 times rumor mongering will be done. If you say bad words or cuss words to one person who may be lower than you, who may be working for you, but people higher than you will be using those words for you. Whatever you do gets done unto you. No escape till you learn the lesson. Some people would say, no, there's no law of karma, it is just a belief. See, if you sow a mango seed, you cannot get a neem tree. If you sow a neem seed, you cannot get a mango tree that gives tasty mangoes, right? So an enlightened person has constant awareness of law of karma in his every action, in his every word. If Prachi Madam is organizing this session, according to law of karma, she is facilitating, sharing the wisdom to the people, right? The same way, masters will facilitate her to get higher wisdom. Whatever you do will get done unto you. If I share the wisdom that is there with me in this class, masters will give me higher wisdom. Whatever I am giving, and if this wisdom is going to change your world, change your health, make you better, then I'll receive that wisdom that will make me better, that will change me, or I'll make my health better. Whatever aspects I'm contributing, I'll be getting the same from the universe. Universe equations are perfect. Never 2 plus 2 is 4.1, never 2 plus 2 is 3.99. It is always 4. 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Mathematics is perfect. 2 plus 2 is always 4, right? The same way universe mathematics and nature mathematics is also perfect. Law of karma operates everywhere. Whatever you do, it will get done unto you. If you do good, good will be done unto you. If you do bad, bad will be done unto you. If you do politics, politics will be done unto you. If you crush a person, you will be crushed. If you support a person, you will be supported. But few times more, multiple times of what you're doing, it will just happen to you. So you're creating that possibility in the field of quantum possibilities. We are living in a field of infinite possibilities. This is called as a quantum field. Whatever you're doing, it is creating a wave and it will come back in the same fashion what you're doing, in the same fashion what you're saying. And an enlightened master also understands that he creates his own reality and no God is creating his reality. No God is writing your fate on your head. No God is writing your fate on your head. You yourself is writing your fate on your head and fortune on your head. You yourself is creating your reality. An enlightened person understands this. And when an enlightened person is aware of law of karma, so even if any person keeps a knife or a sword on his neck, he will understand if it is according to law of karma. If he has to die, he will die. As a consequence of what he has done, if he has to die, he will die. There is no escape. Otherwise, the second choice is, if he has not killed anyone, there is no way that he's going to die. So he will still be fearless. There will be no fear. There is no vibration of fear. All the current health challenge the world is facing, people are getting affected because of their fears. If you have no fear, no virus can attack you. And everyone is in their journey of coming out of their fears. Self-knowledge, self-realization is the way to come out of fears, my dear friends. So, Prachiji, do we have to start meditation now?
It is yes, it is 9:52. If we can start the meditation, I would love to listen what you're saying though. It was very interesting to listen.
Thank you. We'll start the meditation. Yes.
We'll start the meditation.
How much time it will be?
So we have 35 minutes, but we can do 30 minutes meditation. And then whatever question, whoever wants to stay after that. If there is a question, we'll take the questions.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So friends, let us all sit in meditation. Clasp your fingers, cross your legs, close your eyes. Be with the breath. Just relax. Relax yourself. Relax from your head to the toe. Do not tighten any of your muscles. Just be relaxed. Be completely relaxed, my dear friends, my dear masters, my dear gods. Just be relaxed. Be completely relaxed. While being relaxed, just be with your breath. Observe your natural breath. How the air is coming in and how the air is going out. Just observe. Do not slow down your breath or fasten your breath. Just observe how the breath is happening. just be with the breath. For being with the breath is meditation, my dear friends. Feel that every sound you're hearing is taking you into deeper and deeper meditation. Every breath you observe is giving you ions of spiritual progress. My dear friends, my dear gods, my dear masters, we are going into deeper and deeper meditation. Be silent, be still, be a rhythm of the breath. Just be with the breath. We are all in the journey of enlightenment. May we all become enlightened. May the wisdom of enlightenment dawn in us. Just be with the breath. We are all doing a wonderful group meditation, my dear friends. Group meditation is 3 times more powerful than individual meditation. Just be with your breath. Everyone is in the journey of enlightenment, no matter what they're doing. Somebody may be in the journey of enlightenment before enlightenment. Somebody else may be in the process of realizing proper enlightenment. Somebody else may be in the journey of enlightenment after enlightenment. We don't need to judge. Everyone is in their own journey. We don't even have to judge ourselves, but we can be aware in what journey we are. We are in the journey of enlightenment. We all need to come into universal consciousness. We all need to come into the state of oneness. I am one without a second. I am everything. I am in everyone. I am everyone. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. This is what Krishna told in Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. That means leave all dharma. Mam ekam sharanam vraja. Seek refuge only in me. Only in me. That doesn't mean Krishna. It's not about leaving all dharma and seeking refuge in Krishna. It's about leaving all dharma and seeking refuge in our real me. Seeking refuge in real you. That is what Krishna told in Bhagavad Gita. Leave all dharma and seek refuge in your real you. In real me. One need to know that you're not just this body and bones. They're not just this skin and muscles, but they're an eternal and permanent soul. From that Atma Gyan arises the Brahma Gyan. Be with your breath. Everyone is a seeker. Everyone is seeking themselves. Every seeker tends to become a seer. Every seeker will become a seer. Once you become a seer, you will see that the seeker had been seeking himself. We are all seekers, seeking ourselves. That is our real nature. We are all seeking the real me. We have been seeking ourselves all the time. That we'll see when we'll become a seer and a sage, or a drashta, or a rishi. Then we'll be able to see. We'll be able to see through our third eye, through our extrasensory perception, that we have been seeking ourselves all these years, all these incarnations. From Drashta or a Rishi, you'll become a Maharishi. You'll become Mahadrashta. You'll become a great seer. You'll become a great sage. That is the journey. You'll be able to see greatly. And then when the journey continues, when that great seer sees all the dimensions, he becomes multidimensional. He sees so many worlds, so many dimensions. He sees his own past lives. He sees every cause and effect. He understands every cause and effect. Then he becomes a Brahma Rishi, where he just not only sees, but he takes responsibility of making others realize the divinity, the latent divinity. He is able to see, now he has become a great seer. He has realized his own divinity. He has got his enlightenment. And then he is working towards others' enlightenment. He has realized his divinity, and then he works for others' divinity. He works for making others realize their divinity. He has realized his oneness, and he works for making others realize their oneness. Then he becomes a Brahma Rishi. Brahman is a creator. Rishi is a drashta, is a seer, is a sage. He'll become a grand creator and a grand sage and a grand seer. Only a grand seer can become a grand creator. Unless you see, you cannot create. You need to see in order to create. So a grand seer becomes a grand creator. He becomes Brahmarshi. A Jignasu has to become a seer or a sage. That is Drashta or a Rishi in the journey of enlightenment. Every Jignasu, every seeker will become a seer. That is, Jignasu becomes Rishi. Every seer becomes a great seer or a great sage. Rishi becomes a Maharishi, Maharshi. Every great seer will become a Brahma Rishi, a grand creator and a great seer. A grand creator and a great seer. We have that seed inside us. We are grand creators and great seers. Not anything less, my dear friends. We have that seed inside. Now, this meditation will make that seed to flower, to germinate. This meditation will nourish that seed. Let it grow. Let it grow. And will flower into an enlightened master. And then the fragrance will be felt. The fragrance of an enlightened master will be felt by others. Because enlightened master is always ready to support, to cooperate, to help others see their own enlightenment. Just be with your breath. Be with your natural, normal, tender, easy, and tranquil breath, my dear friends. Do not open your eyes. Just be with your breath. Be a light unto yourself. Nobody is going to be a light unto you. You need to be a light unto yourself. These are the final words of Buddha. Gautama Siddhartha, the Buddha. There are many enlightened people earlier, there are many enlightened people now, and there are going to be many enlightened people later. That is what Gautama Siddhartha, the Buddha, said. He said, there are so many Buddhas earlier than me, there are so many Buddhas along with me in this earth planet, and there are going to be so many Buddhas after me. We are all that possibility of Buddhahood. A Buddha means the enlightened one. An enlightened one will never have suffering. He has transcended suffering. He has transcended the mindset that gives suffering. He has transcended the thoughts that give suffering. He will never be in the vibration of suffering, because the ignorance with which suffering is caused, he has transcended it. He is now wise enough to not get into suffering. Any situation may happen. He sees it through his self-knowledge and self-realization, which will not make him suffer. The body may suffer, he will not suffer. The situations may be difficult, he will not suffer. He'll see all these things separate from him, separate than him or her. There is no reason for suffering except the human ignorance. Just be with your breath, my dear friends. Just be with your breath. Last 3 minutes. Today's meditation for today's happiness. Yesterday's meditation for yesterday's happiness. Everyday meditation for everyday's happiness. Let's all do meditation every day, my dear friends. Meditation is non-doing. Meditation is not doing anything with your body. Meditation is not doing anything with your mind. Meditation is not doing anything with your intellect. Meditation is not doing with anything. Meditation is non-doing. Meditation is not doing anything with your body, mind, or intellect. When you're not doing anything, you're in meditation. You're now doing a very wonderful group meditation, a wonderful non-doing process. Last 1 minute, my dear friends. Slowly, slowly come out of your meditation. Gradually come out of your meditation. Be with your breath. Observe your breath joyfully. Slowly keep your hands on your eyes and slowly, slowly open your eyes with a little smile on your face. So let's clap for this wonderful group meditation, my dear friends. Thank you.
If everybody can unmute yourself and clap as we always do, please. And all the cameras on, guys. Come on. Everybody unmute. Oh, you can't unmute. Hang on 1 second. All right, you all can unmute yourself now. Thank you. For a wonderful meditation, for a wonderful master.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Friends, if you have got any questions, you can ask maybe for 5-10 minutes, 10 minutes, I think, right? Yeah.
Please, if there is any question, you can raise your hand.
Anything basic to the advanced, any question you may have about anything, either in this class or anything about meditation.
Or else if you want to share your experience, anything you want to share, please go ahead and either you can raise your hand or you can just simply unmute yourself.
How's the meditation? Anybody wants to share?
Pratiksha, you have a question?
I have a question, but I'll ask later.
Go ahead.
Okay.
No, today in the meditation, I felt like in between, I had like a second or two pause, and then I would like inside get up again or something. I don't know. It was a different experience today. So
Okay.
I don't know what was that pause. There was no thoughts or anything during that. But even though my eyes were closed, I can feel it that there is nothing.
That's cool. If you're able to have that mental pause, that is something beautiful. Because meditation is not doing anything with your body or not doing anything with your mind. If you're able to experience that pause, that's wonderful, amazing.
The question I have is, you said that we are no less than God, but
Yeah.
अगर हम ये मान ले कि हम God ही है, फिर भी हमारे पास वो शक्तियाँ नहीं है जो God के पास है. So how do you achieve that, or where do you achieve those energies?
Beautiful question. That may take another class for us to take, but yet I'll share the gist of it. A God has three qualities essentially. The same question has arisen in me in my own seeking. If I am God, then what should I be? What qualities should I have? See, Vishnu Sahasranama talks about 1,000 qualities. Lalita Sahasranama talks about so many qualities. But the three essential qualities is a God is omnipresent, a God is omnipotent, a God is omniscient. These are the three essential qualities of any God. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Omnipresent, present everywhere. Omnipotent, being able to do anything that he or she wants. And omniscient, all-knowing. And through meditation, you will get an access to these three qualities. Through meditation, as you keep doing your meditation, as you go deeper in and deeper into your meditation and in your realizations, you will be able to get this power of omnipresence. There is an access. There is an access. Shall I tell you what will give you this omnipresence?
Yes, please.
Okay. So love. When you vibrate in the frequency of love, when the love that is, and when you're in journey of your oneness, journey towards your oneness, then you will have an access to omnipresence. And then omnipotence, willpower. Willpower is the access here. The power of intent is the access here. You understanding the science of intent and the manifestation is the access here for omnipotence. And omniscience is all knowing. You grounding yourself in the nature of the soul. You understanding that you are not just limited to this physical body, but you have lived so many lives. See, Buddha has seen 600 of his past lives. I mean, only those lives are documented, but he would have lived thousands of lives in multiple dimensions. So when you know about all of your past lives, you will be able to get all that wisdom from all your past lives. And then you'll become all-knowing. As much as your Ajna Chakra, when you do more meditation, one more petal will be open, one more petal will be open, your Ajna Chakra. As much you do meditation, so much of cause and effect relationships you will get to know. And then you will be able to come to a state of all-knowing. Not be at one instant, but this keeps happening. And these three qualities are developing in you, then you'll become the God that you are. And you're not less than God. If these three qualities are there with anyone, can they not be called as a God? That's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wonderful question, wonderful answer. Is there anybody else would like to share?
Sir, I'll ask you, my son, when he meditates, he tells me that everything is fake. Everything
Okay.
is fake. So he gets scared of it, and then he doesn't want to do meditation. If he does it, he gets lost in like 10 minutes. He doesn't feel anything around him. So he always tells me it's so hard for me to come back from meditation.
Hmm. He said,
He's 8-year-old.
Acha, acha, acha. He says everything is pain or
Everything
fake?
is
What?
fake. Everything is fake. Nothing is real.
Oh, okay. That is his perception. So I wouldn't have a direct answer for that, but he has to be speaking with people or of his age who meditates, or there will be a time when he will come into meditation. As a mom, you don't have to worry about your kid not coming into meditation, but these kids usually do what their parents do rather than what parents tell. That is the secret. So he has to see you meditate, or he has to see the people meditate, and then gradually he'll get that. He'll imbibe that. So there is some source where he felt that everything is fake in meditation. So that
Not in meditation. Not in meditation.
He said the whole life is fake.
No, the world is fake. Whatever you see, the physical things are fake.
Okay.
Not meditation is fake.
Yeah.
Then that's a wonderful realization. See, everything is Maya, illusion. Maybe
Yeah.
he's not finding a right word to tell it, but he has it in his feeling that maybe from one of his past life samskaras that he's able to get that. So
Even I felt him as a divine soul. Actually, he came to visit me. He's Komal is my bhabhi.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. He's right there.
wonderful. Wonderful. And then there was a big message in the chat. Can somebody read it? What it was?
So, no, it was probably just sent to you personally, I guess.
Exactly what? Okay, Satya Sai Baba has mentioned that I am God, your God, and how to attain it is through love, willpower, and ability to see oneness in all. You do. Thanks. Okay. Thank you, Suma. Thank you. Got
So
that?
Suma usually don't speak after the meditation, so she talks with the chat. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And whatever I have shared today is my own journey, my experiences, my spiritual experiences, and the wisdom that I have told you how one can become a god. This is one of the most simplest wisdoms, yet this is one of the most highest wisdom also. Just reflect on it as much as possible. And thank you so much, Prachiji, for this opportunity. And thank you everyone for taking your time to come to this session. And please do attend these sessions regularly and do more and more meditation, as much meditation as possible.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Pradeep ji, for coming. I just wanted to say I had a wonderful.
Thank you very much.
And I didn't want it to come out of it actually. I actually, speaking of enlightenment, it was for a very few seconds, I actually saw a face and I saw a name. And in that person said, I got enlightened. She's my cousin sister, and she's been doing an meditation from past 3 to 4 months.
Mhm.
And I felt that she's telling me, and she's all excited, and she said, I got enlightened, and she was sharing the experience, and then suddenly for a second I came out of it and I said, what did I just saw? So I'm now waiting to see if it's let's see how it goes. So it was a very deep experience. Thank you so much.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
I
Thank
thank
you.
all the people who have thanked me, and special thanks to Prachi Madam for organizing this. Thank you.
So it won't be possible
Thank you.
without Komal. Me and Komal has started this journey together. And it has been really amazing. We have not planned anything. Things have been happening, and Pradeep sir have been a great help to me. I mean, I would say you all are lucky that not only he has chosen to come here and share his wisdom. He has also shared few of other speakers who will be coming soon, and a surprise soon. We'll talk about it. I don't know, Pradeep sir, if it's okay to share right now until we get a confirmation. But
We'll get the confirmation and you can share. Yes.
yeah, so we will see how it goes. But really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I have so much to say, but I guess I'll stop here.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.